What's up guys, back with another video, and today I want to talk about top 5 the most valuable tips when it comes to saving your battery life. It's not a video about battery capacity or battery health. About that I have a video that I will link down in the description that you seem to like very much, so it will be definitely down in the description. And this video is strictly about getting the most life out of your battery. And these are 5 of the best tips that I can give you. So wait for it because it's gonna be legend. Wait for it, dairy. And now we are moving to tip number 1. But before we move to tip number 1, make sure to press the like button if this video is gonna provide you any value, which I kinda know it will. Subscribe for content like that and much more. And now truly moving to tip number 1. So I'm gonna start strong with the first tip, and that is to turn on low power mode. And before you say that low power mode is actually pretty bad for a battery and it can damage it, this is actually not true. And the reason for that is that basically if you go to the Apple website and you will read about low power mode, basically what this thing does is it lowers the overall performance, it reduces some animations, possibly reduces the screen brightness, as well as turns off some other processes that are going in the background. So basically by using low power mode, you not only help your battery, but actually get the most out of it. So if you wanna prolong your battery life for as long as possible and use your phone as long as possible on a single charge, low power mode is definitely gonna help it, and it's definitely not gonna damage your battery in any way, shape or form. And if you wanna know exactly why, I'm gonna be making video in the future about low power mode, so subscribe to stay tuned for that. Tip number 2 is to allow your phone to control the brightness and lower it if you need it. Your screen is basically the most power hungry thing the phone has. So what you wanna do is you wanna basically have always turned on auto brightness, because your phone basically knows what to do, knows how to adjust brightness and actually save power at the same time. So for example, if you had max brightness all the time and sometimes you don't actually need this, this will drain unnecessarily some of the battery. So if you turn on auto brightness, your phone will actually know how to adjust brightness properly for the current conditions. So this is definitely gonna help when it comes to saving battery and getting the most out of it. Also, if there is a need for that, you can always lower the brightness on your own if you need to get the most out of your battery and you don't need your screen to be that bright. You can always lower it manually and it's gonna be totally fine. You're gonna save some more battery. Speaking of screen, by the way, if you have an iPhone with OLED display, which is basically iPhone 10, iPhone XS, XS Max, 11 Pro, 12, 12 Pro, iPhones with OLED display, make sure to turn on that dark mode, since dark mode overall saves the battery life on OLED iPhones, not on LCD, not on like iPhone 7 model like that. No, on this phone no, but on other iPhones with OLED display, it will actually save the battery. And the reason for that is that OLED displays work a little bit differently. So if you have some black content in the background, the pixels individually actually use less power. So it's definitely gonna help when it comes to power efficiency. So if you wanna get the most out of your battery, make sure to turn on that dark mode, and it's definitely gonna save a lot of your battery. My tip number 3 is to make sure to turn off 5G or LTE if you are not using it. If you want to get the most out of your battery, make sure to turn this thing off, as well as 5G in the settings if you have iPhone with 5G like iPhone 12 or 12 Pro. Another thing that you can do is you can actually turn off some background app refresh. You don't always have to turn off every possible app and every possible background app refresh. You can regulate that in the settings individually, but the general rule is that if the apps don't refresh in the background, you're gonna have more battery life on your phone. And the same thing is gonna go, for example, for location. So if you wanna turn something off, just, write it down in the spotlight, in the settings, and it's gonna get you directly for the option you want to turn on or off the option you want. So in that case, we just go to privacy location and we just wanna turn that thing off if we wanna get the most out of our battery, or we wanna regulate that in the individual apps and check that, for example, apps will only use the location only when they are being open, so they will not use any of that in the background, thus they will not drain your battery unnecessarily. Tip number 4 is to turn off unnecessary notifications. For example, notifications that Messenger uses for every message that you're gonna get. So what you wanna do is to basically turn off, don't allow these notifications if you don't really need them that much, because every time you get a message, your phone has to turn on the display to show you that message on the lock screen. And that basically also again draws a lot of power from the battery. So if you want to get the most, if you want to get by in the day with your battery with a single charge, definitely make sure to turn that notifications off so the battery will be bare, so it will actually not unnecessarily draw power from your battery. And by the way, if you have problem with your phone draining the battery too much or something is wrong, you feel that you are not using the phone, it's getting hot and the battery is just dropping and dropping like I have sometimes on iOS 14, what you can do is to basically restart your phone, and it's definitely gonna help because the phone is gonna basically turn everything off, so all the apps and everything that's draining it in the background will be turned off, so until you use them again, it's definitely gonna help. And you can also go to the battery section in the settings and check on the chart or right below what's using the most of your battery. So in that way you know that there is an app that maybe you are not using and it's still somehow using the battery in the background, so you can always uninstall that and thus it will stop draining your battery, thus you will get more battery life overall. And my final, the most important and or probably the most unknown tip of the battery section is to stop turning off and closing those apps like that. You don't want to do that. And the reason is that if you just keep closing your apps like that, it's gonna basically remove them from the RAM. So when you wanna reopen them again, it's gonna draw a lot of resources, your smartphone and the processor in your phone will have to work harder to turn that application on again. So you just don't wanna do that. And basically what you wanna do, just let your phone manage the things on its own and leave these apps in the background unless they are draining some battery and you know that. But if they are not, just leave them in the background and let your phone do the work. iOS or Android are smart enough to actually know how to manage the RAM and how to manage the resources. So if you just keep closing your apps like that, it's gonna unnecessarily drain the battery when you are trying to reopen those apps again, and that's definitely not gonna help your phone and your battery. So just make sure to leave those apps in the background and it's gonna be totally fine. Your phone will know how to handle them. So these were my top 5 the best battery tips that I could think of, and they are actually pretty helpful when it comes to daily usage. And I know that right now we are in quarantine and lockdown, so they may not be necessarily that great, but still we don't want to charge our phone that frequently, or sometimes we just, you know, gotta use the battery to the fullest. So I think they'll be extremely useful, and especially when the lockdown is over, they are gonna be even more useful. So the video, I suppose, is gonna age pretty decently. And I'm really curious what you think about these tips. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? You may share down your opinion in the comments. Once again, smash the like button if you enjoyed this video. Press the subscribe button if you want to see more content like that. And more importantly, be sure to be well. Until next time, and peace.